Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I am doing a Totoro keychain. Now, if you've been following my YouTube channel, I've been doing a series on painting on these wooden keychains with acrylic markers. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. You can see that I've been really indulging in my inner anime fan by painting a lot of Studio Ghibli inspired characters. So this video is no different. Hopefully these videos are helpful for you in terms of getting inspiration for ideas for what you want to paint, or if you want to follow along and see how I paint, and perhaps it could be something that you can replicate on your own as well. So here I'm starting off with my acrylic marker, and I'm using a white acrylic marker to kind of stake out where the character is. I'm not using any pencils or anything to sketch out and draft out where everything is. I'm just going straight in with my markers, but if you like, you can always use a pencil or something to draft out how your character will look like. So I have a couple of colors available. I think I'll do a blue, teal, and green shade for this Totoro. I think historically from the anime, Totoro is more of a gray color, but I feel like doing and playing around with different colors today, so I'm gonna do a blue-green tinted one. So let's see how this turns out. When I draw, I always like to draw from the top to the bottom. So I'm gonna start with this blue color and start with Totoro's ears on the top, and then slowly work my way down through his face and then his tummy and then to his feet. And throughout this process, as I work from top to bottom, I'm actually gonna transition to these teal and turquoise color. I think it will just look so cute and just so different and unique as well. Here for my acrylic marker, the brand I'm using is called Posca. It's made in Japan and I picked it up at my local craft store, but you can always pick it up on Amazon and just stationery stores as well. It comes in various different size nibs. I believe mine is fine and it's a 0.9 to 1.2 millimeters, but I think it's really dependent on what you're painting. If you're painting on a larger surface, of course you want a larger marker, but if you're painting something small like a keychain like what I'm doing, I think the fine 0.9 to 1.1 1.2 millimeters should be just fine. So here you can see I'm just kind of shading it in. Almost feels like it's adult markers, I would say. You know, the Crayola markers that you get back to school for your kids, but these are for adults. So here you can see I'm using the teal color and adding them in. On average, just so you have a heads up on the pricing for these markers, if you get a set of 7, I think online, right now there's a sale on Amazon, so it's around $22 or $25 or so. So that ends up being around $4 to $5 a marker. Of course, there are many various color variations. Some of the variations you can only get them as single markers, in which case they cost a little bit more, but if you get them as a set, of course, it's a little bit more affordable. If you were to get single markers, I think they range between $6 or $7 for this particular nib size. I think this teal color is actually transitioning nicely from the sky blue color that I had initially. You can see I am just kind of doing the outline and background. Later on, I'm probably going to go back with a brown Posca marker to do the outline for the characters, adding in the pupil for the eye. But for now, I think I'm just going to work on the background. So for artwork, I always work from the background to the foreground, so from top to bottom and then from back to the foreground. And that's really helpful for me in that because I'm working with acrylic markers and they're very opaque, that means that when you put one layer of acrylics over the other layer, it just kind of covers up whatever you were painting before, so it makes more sense that you work from back to front. So here I'm leaving the belly white, of course. And my plan is to actually have him hold an umbrella, which is why I have one of his arms actually in the front blocking part of his belly. That's why his belly is not entirely a round oval. But if you want to make this Totoro piece a little bit more simple, I think the best way is just to have him stand still and have a large white oval in the front. But I would say this is a pretty simple project to get into. You can pick up all of these at your like local art store or craft supply store. I think even the dollar store may have some keychains available, but maybe like not of this quality. But I think it's like easily transferable project that you can do for, let's say, ornaments for Christmas as gifts if you want to do something a little bit more personalized. So I think there's just so many ideas that you can do with these Posca markers. If you're looking for like art projects that are like low stake and you don't have to like have multiple sittings and spend a long time painting one project, I think like this is a great opportunity for you to try out markers on these like smaller art projects. After all, I do find that painting on smaller canvases and like smaller pieces, I get a more satisfaction from it, partially because like you finish the project a lot faster, you see the result a lot faster. But at the same time, like I prefer doing some large scale projects as well, because like I think visually speaking, it looks a lot nicer when you put it on, let's say, in a frame in your living room. And also, like, if you plan on reproducing prints, it's a lot easier to do larger pieces that you can shrink down and just looks a lot tidier. Now, after the previous layers have dried, I'm using this brown Posca marker to do the outline. I'm a little bit hesitant about this because I think it looks quite nice with just like the sky blue and the teal and the green. I don't know if I'm making the right move. And for me, like I just decided, you know what, like I'm gonna go for it. I already like have started the outline. If it doesn't work out, I'll just work on another piece with like a similar concept in the future. I don't know if any artists also had that contemplation, especially when you're not doing like digital art. There's no Control Z where you can kind of go backwards. There's a lot of like stress in terms of like, oh, should I add this here? Because like there's really no going back. And like I totally feel that on a regular basis. And the way I kind of reconcile that is to think of it as like, this is a learning opportunity. I can paint again, and the next time I paint it, I can do a better job of it. And if you never try, you never know. You never try, you never know. I keep repeating this to myself. So hopefully that advice will be helpful for you when you're like contemplating about art piece, whether you should like go over that extra step that is gonna like be very life-changing for that piece of artwork that you're working on. You can always try again. So here you can see I'm doing an outline. I think it's looking a little bit better compared to initially when I was working on it. Hopefully it will look even better when I'm fully finished. So you can see that the umbrella, I've done the outline for it, but still need to fill in the inside of it. After the acrylic fully dries, I will be putting a seal on it, and the seal does take around roughly 4 days for it to fully cure. So just as a heads up, if you're planning on doing an ornament like a Christmas ornament or a keychain gift for a friend, make sure you time it enough so that your acrylics fully dry and then you have time to add on the seal. Roughly, like the whole process may take roughly 5 days if you like really maximize your time, or 4 days, or usually I think giving yourself like 7 days is like a good amount of time. I also have another tip is to do them in batches. So what I mean is like do all your keychain, do all your acrylic, draw everything all at one time, let it all dry, and then seal them all at once, rather than like doing one piece, sealing it, and then working another. And that will kind of speed up your process and you'll be a little bit more productive that way, rather than just like sealing each piece individually. And I also find that like it gets easier when you have a rhythm where you're just drawing or just sealing, rather than like having these segmental activities where I'm going to draw, seal, draw, seal. It's a lot easier if you just start batching some of your work. So now I'm coloring in the umbrella. I think it looks a lot nicer than I initially thought. I thought it would. It's a little bit worried when I started adding that brown outline. I wasn't sure how it was gonna work out. Ideally, I was thinking it would be nice if it was like a dark or cobalt blue with the outline, but unfortunately I did not have the color on hand. But I do think that the brown looks quite nice as well. It's a little bit softer as opposed to like a black outline that I feel like is just so defined and like too sharp, and I wanted this like keychain to be a little bit softer, the characters to be a little bit softer. So I'm just about wrapped up for this Totoro keychain. I hope you enjoy this video and enjoy all the tips I'm providing on this project. If you're planning on doing it on your own as well, I welcome any comments below if you have any questions about my process. And that's it. That is my video on this Totoro keychain art time lapse. Thank you so much for joining me. And before I sign off, of course, I need to autograph or initial my artwork, and then I'll give you a closer look at how it looks like before I put the seal on. So that's it. Isn't it so adorable? Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time in another video. Take care and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.